Hey guys, in this tutorial we're going to be focusing mostly on using guidelines to create our drawing. So we're not going to really go ahead and complete the drawing all the way through because I already have the final sample here, and I'll explain what I've done to get to this point. But the purpose of this tutorial is to really take a good close look at guidelines and really look at the photo reference of the Sparrow and see how we can break it down into sections by using shapes and other guidelines to help us build up our details. So we're going to try to get as close as possible to the photo reference. Again, we don't have to be perfect. And as always, remember to just pause the video if you need to, and you can go back and redraw certain steps if you have to. So here's again the drawing that I made. So we're going to create something similar to this. Of course, our next drawing will be a little bit different, won't be identical, which is okay. So here is what the guidelines will look like, and let me explain some of these really quick. So the main body of this bird is this large oval. So we're going to start with that, and once we create that, we're going to divide it in half vertically and horizontally. So this will help us get 4 areas of this circle. And that's important to get to the next step, which would be this diagonal line here, this guideline. If you can see, when I looked at the photo reference, the eye and this part of the wingtip, pretty much lines up almost right on the guideline. And to get this line, it's pretty much just dividing it in half again, as if you were going to make an X, but we just need this guideline going from the top left to the bottom right. So again, we're going to draw this line. So we have the crosshair and we have this line going through the center of the circle. Once we have that done, we're going to draw the head by creating a smaller circle. And we're going to add the eye, and we're going to create the little neckline, and from there on everything else will fall in place. Once we have, for example, this part of the wingtip drawn, it will help us to know where to start drawing our tail and the back of the bird, which almost lines up to the head going this way. And this part of the body is pretty much all along the oval, so that helps us. And we have the feet and other shapes to help us draw the feet. So let's go ahead and get started, and as we build up our guidelines, everything will make sense. Alright, here we go. Okay, so first we're going to position our bird right about here. That way we have enough space for the photo reference on the left. So I'm being careful how I draw my oval, and it's not a circle, it's a little bit longer this way, as you can tell from the reference. He's a little bit wider from here to here, mainly because we're looking at almost a side view, but also almost a 3/4 view. So the birds, or this bird, will be a little bit longer if you look at him sideways. If he were to be head on, then the shape would be more of a circle. So try to maintain an oval shape. So next we need to divide it in half. Both vertically and horizontally. And keep your guidelines really light. The pencil that I'm using is a 2H. That way I won't accidentally get too dark. So now we have the body here. This took a little time because this part of the oval needs to be pretty accurate because it follows the contour or the outline of the bird, the bottom portion of it. So let's go ahead and place the head. Now the head's a lot smaller than the main body, and it's going to be about right in the middle of this quarter area. So just kind of sketch something lightly just for now to place it. And looking at our reference again, we need to make sure that the size of this guy is the right size. Okay, I think he might stick out a little bit more. Again, create more of an oval shape for the head. And that's pretty much is more sketched out, so that's all we want to do. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and create our diagonal like we talked about. And we're going to go right through these two corners and divide those in half. These are just guidelines to help us with other parts of the bird. So it should go halfway through this oval also. Okay. Now the eye is going to be placed outside of the main oval in this area. And just look at your reference to help you out. And just kind of sketch them in really quickly, lightly. Okay, so now he has a little dark patch of dark color going across his eye, but it also follows the beak. So we're going to create a little guideline like so. Okay. Now the beak is more up higher than this end, so let's go ahead and draw that guy in as just a little triangle shape for now. And let's go ahead and knock out his feet. So his feet are about halfway between here and here. And looking at a reference, we can see that this leg, the center part of the leg, goes straight down. Has a little bend right here, And the bend on this guy's a little bit higher. It's about here. So we draw little circles. And then this leg does this, it bends out a little bit. And between here and here, it's about the same length. And this one is just almost at an angle going down. And you want to go ahead and create your kind of like a horizon line, but it's the ledge that the bird is standing on. Alright, let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's better. I was going crooked. Okay. And for the bottom of the feet, we want to draw like half circles. And pay attention to the one of his claws in the back of his foot. This one is on this side and it's curved just a little bit this way. This guy is inwards, and again it has a slight curve. Okay, and we'll get to the details of that later. And we want to thicken up his thigh area. Thicken up his lower foot. Just sketch him in. Think of everything as guidelines still at this point. Okay, so now we want to get this wing kind of knocked out. It's not really here. It's going to be a little bit higher, like about here. But this line helps us to pinpoint it. In my original outline, I placed the wingtip here, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Birds are always moving around. So I'm just going to draw a little triangle tip here. Now I want to go ahead and just get the wing in here. So in order to do that, I need to find out where the bottom of the wing goes, and it's below this guideline. So it's going to start about here and join here. So let's draw a straight line connecting these. More or less, that's where our bottom of the wing is. Over here, this wing pretty much kind of goes along a curve, and it kind of goes straight across. So let's go ahead and get the neck in here. And let's go ahead and draw the top part of the wing. So we want to extend this a little bit inwards, up in here. Now I see a line going here along these feathers, so this wing has a bunch of feathers up in here, and there's like this one big feather up in here, but it's almost lining up. So I'm just going to go straight up and get this guideline drawn. Now that we have this shape, we can put our tail. So the tail kind of sticks out this way a little bit, almost level higher than the wing line. And it kind of goes all the way out to here. Let me adjust my camera a little bit so you can see more of the bird. Okay, so the tail ends about here. And looking at my reference again, this tail might be a little bit too straight. So I'm gonna adjust it. Have my kneaded eraser. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it a little bit. So just a little correction here. So it's actually following the wing line a little bit. And the top part of the wing, or I mean of the tail, is almost parallel. But let's go ahead and draw that in. And the end of the tail. So let's take care of this part right here. So we need to draw the top back side of the bird, which includes the other wing. And what it's doing is almost going to this area right here where this guideline intersects the oval. We're going to go from here and draw a straight line to the head. Okay, so that's a guideline too. So that's the top part of the bird. And now that we have that, we can start adding some small details. But first, let's get the other side of the wing going. Let's redraw our circle. And if you notice, there's a line going from here, which is part of this feather, and it almost touches this line. And it ends at a point below this guy. And from here we want to go straight up. Notice how we're going through the tail. We're making our lines behind the tail, or this wing behind the tail, but we want to see the line, so it's almost like a see-through, because you want to make sure that when you erase this part, the lines behind the tail connect properly and it looks right. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the details. I'm going to speed up the video a little bit and just follow along. Remember to pause it if you need to, and this will actually just speed up the process of the tutorial. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, so let's get started. Okay, so as you can see from all of the work I've been doing, having all these guidelines in place was actually very helpful, and this is what's going to help you guys to draw things better, is by creating reference points for different areas of your subject. So in this case, for this bird, we were able to find out that the center of the body, or the largest part of the bird, which is the torso area, is a large oval. The head was a small oval, and based on the angle that this bird is perched on this ledge, we were able to find out other useful guidelines to help us line up, for example, the eye and the wingtip, and the beak to the eye. So there's a lot of reference upon reference that you can use to get your drawing to look like a reference photo. So we're going to go ahead and lightly erase all of our work, and I'm going to redraw everything back in there. And for this video, I'm not going to create all the details. The most important part of this tutorial is using guidelines to help you get all of your finer reference lines in place. So it's already starting to look like a bird, which is what we want. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video one more time. So as you can see, our bird is starting to take shape, and from this point on we can go ahead and start doing some light detail work. I'm still using a 2H. I can switch over to an H and start adding the detail using values again. So now that I know where everything is, it's just a lot easier to do the finer details. So I can keep on going with this drawing here, but since I already have it created, I'll show you what I've done in the final piece. So I just continued doing my shading work using some fast but precise hatching techniques, and I built up my values using layers, and I finally ended up using an HB pencil to fill in the eyes and a lot of the darker areas of the bird. So that's all you need to do really in order to build up a bird from scratch. Essentially going from something like this. All of your guidelines are sketched in place. After you erase and get more details built in, you should have something like this. And once you start adding all of your work, you can have something like this. So I hope that this tutorial on using guidelines will help you guys out in order to get better at your drawings whenever you're using reference.